Hello and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
Matt.
and today we're going to be reviewing,
Riverdale.
our favourite show, and it is back to the silliness I know I personally love. So it's Homecoming, Archie's mum's back, and Veronica gets the news that her father's sentence is kind of being commuted down to time served, but really she's got the niggling feeling that she wants to find out, was he actually Jason's killer, or did he orchestrate it with FP? So all the women decide to kind of, you got Betty Cooper Betty's mum, Mrs. Cooper's kind of instigating everyone together to be like, oh, I know, I'll invite FP round to dinner, and that'll distract him while you guys go and check the trailer to see if anything untoward's going on. So it's kind of lucky that FP got rid of his the Jason jacket, like however many episodes ago. Also, it's kind of, they're playing out the whole thing. Oh, everything's going okay, you know what I mean? FP's back on the wagon, as it were. He's no longer drinking,
Yeah.
and it is shaved. Family life's good. He wants Jelly Bean and the mum back. So obviously, you know, something was about to go awry. Um, another weird thing to kind of point out is, like, that I I don't really know how to get to this. So you've got the weird thing with, I always thought to myself, do you know Mr. Blossom, I guess
hmm
that's what they called him. I always thought to myself, looking at him, I was thinking his hair looks a bit off, you know. And then it turns out his hair's gone white, and because of it he wears wigs, because the kind of Blossom thing is the red hair.
hmm
So he's got. So I mean, I was weirded out at first because you got Polly sneaking around the house, all that stuff, and she kind of gets her way into like the East Wing, which is restricted, and she's peering through a door, and she sees like a bunch of wigs, and I was like, "Wow, what's going on here?" Very kind of strange. Then, eventually, because Cheryl decides, oh, I'm going to the homecoming dance, and I'm going to take Polly, who's not even a student, on the random, just this random person. I'm going to take her as my date. So they decide to kind of go into the East Wing again, rifle all through there, and then they find the ring, which is like a huge kind of like clue, because the last person to have that was obviously Jason Blossom. I was waiting for you to chime in there.
I'm sorry, this has lost me.
What do you mean?
I don't know everything about who this killer. I thought by now I'd like to know who it was, but I don't. I have no idea.
I kind of, it's kind of, it's interesting because I'm more interested in, like, I push that crime kind of stuff out the way, and I'm more interested in the characters. You've
See, I
got
can't. To me, that's the most interesting thing.
you've got Archie trying to pursue a relationship with Veronica. Then you've got Archie's dad all over the place because the mum, and obviously with Hermione, so I guess it's trying to keep that on the down low. Then, I mean, we get to the homecoming dance. Cheryl's standing there with a puss on, like all over
I'm
the,
sorry.
with a puss on, like a long face or whatever.
Okay.
Obviously, yeah, and it turns out during an altercation, because like the mum gives Polly a smoothie because she's been investigating too much, and it puts her to sleep. So no date. So she's there with a puss on, and then she spins a tale that the ring was lost down the toilet, and it's like the only evidence about whatever with the murder case. I guess it's a big bit of evidence that it might incriminate them. So like, I'll call the ring's gone. Then you've got, they get to, Archie and Veronica get to FP's yard, and they're all ransacking it, and it turns out there's nothing there, and they're disappointed. Well, Veronica's disappointed. She's like, yo, let's switch and I'll check. Like, upset that her dad's got nothing to do with it, I guess, or not implicated for some reason. It's interesting as well, I noticed that 2 episodes ago, Veronica rips off the pearls, and no less than 2 episodes later she's got a string of pearls back round her neck. So
She's rich.
the gesture obviously counted for nothing. they kind of get there and it's all like all sinister. Betty's kind of freaking out. She's being all like sinister, like staring at people like what's going on. They kind of tried to make her look really guilty with those scenes, like she's phasing everything out and she's like all crazy. So yeah, so it all comes out that they kind of, well, I mean, they're duet at the homecoming, and then for some reason everyone pulls their phones out and starts swinging their flashlight up and down
As you do.
for an upbeat song, which really had nothing
School dance as well.
It's so strange, really is so strange. So yeah, we kind of get to the end of the episode. Everyone's moaning at each other because, oh, you've done this or that behind my back. FP gets a search warrant on him. They go through all this stuff, and then they find a lockbox with a gun in it, not proven to be the murder weapon, but they find a gun, so he's arrested.
You think a guy who was in a gang would have like a permit?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but I mean, I don't know what's. Look, either way, they're trying to placate that he did the crime, but obviously Archie and Veronica already searched and realised there was no lockbox, so he's being set up. So that kind of makes Jughead feel a little better, because obviously the whole perfect family thing isn't so long away. And then you've got the mum who's talking to him like, oh, I don't think Riverdale's safe, you should come with me to Chicago. And it's like, okay then, murder count, Riverdale 1, Chicago 100 a day. You know what I mean? So
is that true fact?
Not 100 a day,
but I don't think Al Capone is like around Chicago anymore.
Well, the kind of nickname for it's like Chirac, so that's all I'm gonna say. But there's like tons of murders there and gun crime, but that's like the big issue in like America. One of the big issues, that the Chicago gun crime. But obviously the mum thinks it's safer there, where if you go down the wrong street you're gonna get shot. Then you know, if you hang out in the wrong area on the 4th of July, you're gonna get shot. So very, very random. I mean, I found bits of the episode real funny, like when Veronica's asking for a favour and then Archie moves in on her and she's like, nah mate. The swinging of the phones, the torches, it was all very bizarre. Have you got any thoughts?
I thought it was pretty funny. I liked Molly Ringwald. Apart from that, let's all move to Chicago crap, I liked Molly Ringwald. I thought I was glad she didn't play Betty's mum's game, but she was likeable enough. So far she seems like the most normal female adult on the show. Yes, Hermione's hot, but oh my god, she's also a hot mess and I don't want to be dealing with that. So I think she's alright, maybe she sticks around.
In what way?
She's crazy, man. Like, she keeps on coming up with these wacky plans and she lies all the time. Why does she want to hook up with that?
Right, so a classic woman.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Put that one out on the internet, won't you? Aside from that, I hope they don't make Old Man Blossom the killer. Clearly it's not the mum, because she was crying about it in this episode at one point, and there was no one around to see, unless like she knew the daughter was there maybe. But I don't think it was them, and I hope they don't make them. It's too obvious.
Well, to be honest, you've got to kind of look at the evidence. It's got to be someone who was not accounted for when Ronnie and Archie get back to homecoming. So
it could be either one of them. It could, and theoretically, they would have the wherewithal and the power to set up Jughead's dad. So technically, yes, it could be them. I just think that's a bit of a cop out to make the super evil white people the ones that have done it. Aside from that, I don't know who the killer is at this point. I don't even know how many episodes we got left.
I don't know, but I know it's not going to be a finale job. I think we're going to be let into the secret beforehand. I really do think so. But I mean, it could be Betty's dad still. They kind of brought up the whole thing of him stealing the evidence. We saw that, and then really he hasn't been kind of featured very much since. And obviously, I mean, maybe he was at the dinner party, But I mean, after that, what's happening? You know what I mean? He has no fixed abode, as it were. So he doesn't really have these days. I mean, in terms of covering up and stuff like that, he doesn't really have an alibi. Let's talk numbers.
I'll go 7.5.
I'll give it a 7. There were funny bits in it, but really, like, there was nothing amazing that happened, was there?
No, it was fun. I think this is the most. Sometimes when I watch this show, I sit down and scratch my head in a bad way, thinking, "What the hell am I watching?" But this week, I don't know. I thought it was pretty fun.
I really like it. It's just crazy. It's just a real.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a really, really strange song. Not song. Program.
I thought you were making like a deep statement there, but
no,
yeah.
the song they sung, the duet. What was it? Kids in America. That song was stuck in my head for a while, so that's why I've got that on the mind.
I think it's going to get even weirder when like Sabrina the Teenage Witch shows up. So
you can't stop mentioning that, can you?
I can't get over it. I don't get it. It's Sabrina the Teenage. I thought, obviously I'm wrong now. I know that, but I thought this show was going to be like Beverly Hills 90210 or something, especially with Luke Perry running around. Now there's witches.
Yeah, well, rolling in with two women on his arms. Well, did you ever watch Sabrina? This is just, let's wrap this up. But I'm just saying now.
Did I watch the old Sabrina?
Yeah, the TV program.
Not religiously. I saw an episode or two.
Yeah, well, that was kind of. It wasn't too crazy, was it? It was kind of a comedy thing. But I mean, if you knocked out the comedy and made it serious, it wasn't really that outlandish. You know what I mean?
She was a witch, though.
Yeah, I know, but apart from that, it wasn't really. There weren't other really like crazy things going on. You know what I mean? It was kind of grounded. But I think
she's a witch. That's as crazy as you need.
I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
And we will see you in. This is a superhero hub.
So, apparently.
And we will see you in the next episode.
Bring on Sabrina.